It is 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Wait for a couple people to hop on here. I don't know who's joining us, who's planning to join us, but I am super excited, super excited for this one. You know, we talked about last week, we talked about the truth about online lead generation. If you thought I was fired up about that topic, this topic I am way more fired up about. Generating leads online. Got a couple people popping on here. Welcome. So we're live in the Facebook group, on the Facebook page, LinkedIn, and I believe YouTube. So welcome. People showing up now. Just like what I learned last week, I can't actually see your names when you comment here. So it just shows like Facebook user or whatever platform you're coming from. So not that it's all that important, but nonetheless, I'm not calling you out by name. I'm sorry about that. So welcome. Like I said, guys, just previously, I'm way more excited about this one than last week's live, talking about the truth about online lead generation, because converting online leads, this is where magic happens, right? You know, when you're showing on MTV Cribs, when they're showing the master bedroom or the primary bedroom, whatever the politically correct term is these days, and they say this is where the magic happens. Well, in the business world and in our world of real estate, converting these online leads, this is where the magic happens. So super excited. You know, again, guys, just help me engage. You know, if you have any questions or anything whatsoever, let me know how the audio is. Let me know how the video quality is. I've turned off pretty much all my applications, so we should be better this week. From last week, we were a little bit blurry. So I want to share something with you quick before we get started here. Pop the screen up. This is something. Let's turn this guy on. Toggle this on. All right. Whoops. Did I just hit stop sharing? That's not what I want. Hi. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, we're still sharing. All right, guys. So this is something that I have plastered on my wall. Sorry, it's just loading. Trying to hit play here. This is something that I have plastered on my wall. I have it saved in my phone. I have it hearted, so it's in my favorites, so that I can see it. Now, this is something that this is kind of like the Bible for me. This is a reference from Lead Simple. Now, it's the progression of a sale. So this is highly relevant to converting online leads, because check it out here. Contact number 1, 43% of salespeople have given up at this stage. Contact number 2, 68% of salespeople have given up at this point from 2 contact points. Contact number 3, 80% of salespeople have given up. And then contact 4, 5, 6, 7, and beyond. That's where all the low-hanging fruit is. And, you know, as it says here, this is where your prospects are starting to get to know you. You're, you know, at contact 6, you're the only one of the only ones to make 6 contacts. Contact 7, you now own their mind share, because as default choice, when the prospect is ready, because you're in front of these people. Now, I don't know the data where they got this from, but this is pretty typical. Stop sharing this. This is pretty typical to what we see. Everybody's heard that. Sorry, let me turn that off. Hey, look, that looks like a tag. Sandy, it looks like you're tagging Lauren. So everybody's heard that. You know, delete this. Sorry. Everybody's heard those types of things, right? It's 7 touch points, it's 8 touch points, it's 9 touch points, 10 touch points. The magic number of how many touch points it is required to eventually get the prospect to engage with you. Now, it's going to be different for everybody, but I promise some of the things that we're going to be talking about, especially if you follow these 4 steps that we're going to be talking about in this live, and when you follow some of these kind of tricks, sort of ninja tactics that I'm going to teach you, those numbers will dramatically increase for you. So another thing that I want to play here, so disclaimer, okay, The Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort, I don't know what your feelings are about him or that movie. Yeah, he committed a crime, he went to jail. I don't know what your feelings are about that. But when it comes to sales, the guy's actually pretty legit, and I want to share this with you now as we get started here. Chrome tab, I want to share this. Because I gotta hit the share button. Because guys, this is literally us. Hopefully you can hear this. I'm gonna play these first couple seconds of this video.
See those little black boxes? They're called telephones. I'm gonna let you on a little secret about these telephones. They're not gonna dial themselves, okay? Without you, they're just worthless hunks of plastic, like a loaded M16 without a trained Marine to pull the trigger. And then
So isn't that the truth, guys? Again, I don't know what you feel about Jordan Belfort or the Wolf of Wall Street, but these little hunks of plastic, this little actually this is about $1,500 Canadian, this little hunk of plastic and glass is completely useless without me picking up the phone and actually using it. And it's no different in your guys' business. You got to pick up the phone, you got to make the call, you got to send the text. Yeah, some of this stuff can be automated with LionDesk, and actually a lot of it should be, but we still got to put in the work, and that is the difference between the people that convert online leads and the people that don't. So that little sales meeting that Jordan has, he goes on, I'm going to play one more quick thing here because he goes on to say this. Let me turn this on. Sorry guys, a little bit technical problems here. Unable to share screen. It's not letting me share the screen for some reason. Oh, Chrome tab, there we go. All right, here we go. Sorry about that. Turn it on here. This is one of my favorite parts of this movie. I absolutely love this part.
So you listen to me and you listen well. Are you behind on your credit card bills? Good, pick up the phone and start dialing. Is the landlord ready to evict you? Good, pick up the phone and start dialing. Does your girlfriend...
I'll stop it there. It gets a little bit. Anyway, so part of why I love that so much is one of my mentors and my really good friends, Jeff, his name's Jeff Samus, he taught me that if you don't have something in life, it's because of two reasons, maybe one or the other or both. And it comes down to skill and will. Now, if you don't have the skill, that's a good problem to have, because if you have a lot of desire and you really want to increase your gross commission income and you want to convert online leads, that's fantastic. And if you lack the skill, great, we can teach you that. But if you lack the will, then there's not much helping you. There's not a whole lot helping you, because whatever your desire, whatever your motivation to earn more income, to convert leads, all that kind of stuff, if you don't have the will to do it, I can't really teach you that. Nobody can really teach you that. So hopefully you're in the category that it's just skill you're lacking, which is part of what we're going to talk about right here. So 4 steps of converting online leads. Now, before we get into the 4 steps, there's one thing that's very important to understand. And anytime you have an online lead come in, generally you're attracting these leads because you are promising them, right? So in the marketing world, we call this a lead magnet or a value proposition, things of that nature. Because the truth is, nobody is going to give you their contact information without you promising them something, right? So if you're using like a home list or home valuation, whatever the value proposition to exchange somebody's information from you, the most important thing is you have to deliver that immediately, like now. I mean, especially if you promise, like in your ad copy or in your ad, you're saying that, hey, I'm going to give you this, give me your information and I'm going to give you this. You're not going to say those exact words, but essentially that's what's happening, right? Give me your contact information and I'm going to give you X, whatever you're promising. Now, you have to deliver that right away. So that's, again, where LionDesk will come in, because with the automation and being able to bring your leads into a specific marketing campaign, one that we're going to talk about here, you're going to want to deliver that value proposition right away, because if you don't, you're going to lose credibility with this lead, right? You're essentially promising them something, and if you don't deliver it, you're going to lose credibility. So that's the first caveat. Is before you do anything, before you try to get them through these 4 steps we're going to go through, you have to deliver whatever you are going to deliver them. And now, what you want to put these people into, so if you don't have it already, you're going to want to build out. And by the way, so I put a poll in the group. Let me know, I guess, in the comments if you would find this helpful. I put a poll in the group. It sounds like there's some interest. I was thinking about, like, Marnie and Jessica and I were talking, and we were thinking about maybe having me build. I mean, I could just give you a marketing campaign, share it to your account, but we were thinking that maybe we build one live instead. So I would go through it, how I would build it, the psychology that I'm using, all the strategy and everything behind how this stuff works, because this stuff is, what I'm going to be talking about today, is unorthodox. It might not be what you're typically used to, but that's how you get extraordinary results, right? If you do what everybody else does, you get what, the saying is, you get what everybody else does, which is probably not what you want. So let me know if you guys would find that helpful. If we did a live, so I would build out a marketing campaign that converts like crazy with online leads. I would build it live, and then hopefully at the end of it, if you want to use it in your business, we could just share it to your account, because you can publish campaigns and share it to the community. So let me know. I don't know if anybody would like to hear that or see that, let me know in the comments. So the number one thing is I put all online leads, I put them in a special marketing campaign that I built specifically for the campaign that I am running at the time. So whether it's Facebook ads, Google ads, YouTube organic, Google organic, whatever it is, I build a specific marketing campaign for that person. Step one is, and I call it, by the way, I call it a blast, right? So the number one goal with converting online leads, the number one goal, the hardest thing to get them to do is to engage and respond to you, because they're busy clicking around on the internet. They're clicking all over the place and they're getting all kinds of messages and all kinds of noise from all different areas. So if you can't get them to respond to you or engage, then you're dead in the water. All the other steps will not happen. So I always put people through what I call a blast. And a blast is a 5 to 7 day heavy, like I'm talking heavy artillery. We are throwing everything at them. We are throwing text messages, emails, video text messages, video emails, phone calls, just throwing all this artillery at them. And basically the goal is to get them to engage and respond with us. So that's what I put them through. It's called a blast. And it's, like I said, it's a 5 to 7 day campaign. And the goal of that campaign is get them to respond, because once they respond, now you can begin the qualifying process and you can remove them from that campaign, which it'll end in 5 to 7 days anyways, but you can take them on to another campaign, which is something more specific to what they're actually looking for, whether they're a buyer, a seller, first-time buyer, move-up buyer, all the different types of niches that exist, right? So we have to put them through that blast. And the number one rule, so this is very important too, the number one rule with any kind of blast is you do not, I repeat, do not sell over email, okay? If you're sending emails to sell and to get them to get on the phone with you, your chances are very, very slim, because number one, emails, the open rate is quite low. If you are getting a 30% open rate on your emails, you are doing fantastic. Okay, because most of your emails aren't even getting open, and if they're not getting open, they're not getting read. So if they're not even getting open to be read, how can you possibly try to sell to them, right? So that's the number one rule with sending out using a blast campaign, is emails are used for one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to deliver the initial value piece that you promised. And that is it, okay? Everything else is going to be done through text message, through video text message, and through manual outreach. Now, that word might scare a few people, but that is what is going to separate you from the rest, right? If you're putting in the work, you're actually making the phone, you're picking up these worthless $1,500 pieces of plastic and making the damn phone call, that's what's going to set you apart. Okay, so again, let me know in the comments if you'd like to see me build one of these blasts out live. Let me know. If I don't hear or see any interest, then I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to spend my time on it, right? Because if nobody wants to see it or hear it, then why bother doing it? So let me know. But now let's go through the 4 steps, okay? So once you have your blast set up, the entire goal of this whole campaign is just to get a response, like I said. So step number 1 is you must get an engagement. You must get a response from these people, okay? So I know you're going to send out an email. You're going to send out, yeah, let's see it. Cool. We've got one person wants to see it. Awesome. There's like 17,000 people in this Facebook group, and only one person wants to see me build a marketing campaign that you can put in your LionDesk account and just absolutely crush it. So hopefully, hopefully there's a little bit more support for that, so that this project, this live actually gets off the ground. So step number 1 of the 4 steps, like I said, is you got to get an engagement. You got to get a response, right? So do not do that through email. If you do it through email, you're dead in the water, because email has its time and it has its place. But for this blast and getting a response from people, that's not what we want. This is Ben who wants to see it. Awesome, Ben. Awesome. I hope it happens. So getting that response, you're going to want to heavily rely on LionDesk's text message automation, because that is one of its biggest core features that differentiates it from other CRMs out there. So you're going to be sending out messages now, not the typical messages like the I'm the greatest, I'm the best. I call it I marketing. You know, I'm so great, I'm so blah, blah, blah. I sold the most homes in my market, blah, blah. Nobody gives a crap about that stuff, right? You're going to want to send out, and my favorite, I talked about it last week's live, but my very favorite first text message to send is, hey, so-and-so, because you can pull in their first name from your campaign, right? When you import the data from Facebook or Google or whatever you're running, you can pull in their first name from the field. It's called a merge field. And that's my favorite text message to send. Hey, Matt. Hey, is this Matt? Or hey, Matt, is this the best number for you, right? That text message gets unbelievably ridiculous response, because when people see it, imagine you getting that text message, right? You get a text message that says, hey, is this, hey, is this Mike? If I saw that text message all day long, I'd be like, yeah, of course, right? So if you've gotten to that point, you've gotten them to respond, you're already winning, because that's the hardest thing. Now, one of the other core features LionDesk has with its, especially with its text message automation, you're going to want to make sure that you include this in your marketing campaign. And if we end up building this blast campaign, I'll do that. Is you want everything to be stop on reply, okay? Because the moment that they respond to you, I know you're not going to want to hear this, but now it's up to you to go to work manually, okay? You want to stop all automations, because the next text message automations that they're going to be getting are all designed to get a response, to get engagement. So if you keep hitting them with these same messages of like, hey, is this Matt? Hey, is this a good time to talk? All these kinds of questions, then you're going to look like a fool, right? So you want all of your text messages to stop on reply. That is super, super critical with this. And now from this point forward, I want to ask you guys, are you guys using scripts, by the way? So when you get someone to respond, I'm looking off at the comments here. When you get somebody to respond and you get them on the phone live, are you using scripts? I'm just going to wait for people. I think we're a little bit delayed, so I want to wait if anybody's going to type or respond to that. Okay, I'll look periodically over to see if anybody responds. But if you're not using scripts, you should be, okay? Some people have some feelings about scripts, and they think, well, scripts sound cheesy, it sounds robotic. And that's true if you're using scripts like you're literally reading from a script word for word, like, hi, Mr. Prospect. Oops, I wasn't supposed to say Mr. Prospect. I was supposed to say their name. How are you today? Is there anything I can help you with? Yeah, if you're reading scripts like that, it's going to sound robotic and it's going to sound like a script. Scripts are meant to just guide the conversation, because a sales situation is dynamic, right? There's no like A plus B plus D plus E. It's not really always just a perfectly straight line. So you got to be able to adapt. You got to be able to come. But that's what having scripts helps you do. It helps you be prepared. Yes and no, I don't have it in front of me. I work off of what I've learned in the past. Yeah, so I mean, if you have your script stored to your memory, that's really the idea of a script, is to have the phraseology, have the language that you're going to use, have it stored to memory so that you can say it on the fly, and you want to be able to adapt to each situation. So the reason why I ask if you have scripts is because once this conversation goes manual, once they've responded to you, then you're going to have some strategy, right? From that point, it's going to take skill, right? Asking the right questions, leading them down the line to getting an appointment set up, things like that. It's going to be how skillful, how you're able to convert that is going to depend on how skillful you are. And just a reminder again, step number one is to get an engagement, get a response. So all of your marketing automation is going to be designed around that. And like I said, do not use email for this stuff. Use email only to send value, like market updates. If you have a YouTube video, you upload it to your channel, things like that. Do not use email to try to schedule an appointment. If you're sending out automated emails to try to schedule an appointment, I don't know. You tell me, how much luck have you had with that? I haven't had any luck with it. I prefer text message, and I prefer getting people on the phone. So that's step number one. Get an engagement, get a response. If you cannot get a response from these leads, you will never be able to take them down these next steps, and you will never have them become a client of yours. Excuse me, just take a drink of water here. All right, so step number two is, once you have an engagement, once you have a response, you have to get them off of the text messaging, off of the texting. You have to get them live on the phone. So you're going to be using your skill. You're going to be using some of the scripts. If you don't have them, you're going to want to develop some using text message scripts and templates, things that you can copy and paste equally, because you're going to be getting hit, especially if you're running online leads with a bigger budget. You're going to be getting hit quite a bit. And if you don't have some templates and some scripts that you can use, it's going to be challenging for you. And the other thing too is, if you're sending something different every time, right? That whole Peter Drucker thing, what gets measured gets managed. If you're sending a different message every single time, you have no way to systematize this. You have no way to gauge and to measure whether the messages you're sending are actually working. So what I like to do is I like to send the same message for like a week. So I'll send the same response text message for a week to like 30, 40 leads. And then I'll gauge, all right, what was my conversion rate on that? How many people did I move off of text message into the phone from that? And just keep improving, keep optimizing what you're sending, basically, right? Step number 2 is to get them off of texting and onto the phone. And now while you're on the phone with them, the biggest thing that you were trying to accomplish is pre-qualify them, because you cannot update your contact, the contact you're speaking to. You can't update them in LionDesk. You can't move them to appropriate marketing campaigns if you don't know what they are, right? Pre-qualification is one of the most important things. I mean, other than the connection and building the rapport with these leads and these prospects, pre-qualification is one of the most important things, because you don't want to waste your time with somebody that's not qualified, right? If you can find out in a matter of like 5 minutes that, hey, you know what? This person has a credit score of 320. You know, not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm not laughing at people like that, but you know, if they have a credit score of 320, they have no down payment saved up, the chances and the you know, the realistic chance of them buying a home this year is like slim to none. It's not that there's anything wrong with that, but you just want to know what you're dealing with, right? That kind of person, I don't throw them to the garbage or anything like that. They're not a crappy person. They're crappy with their finances, right? And I want to put them in an appropriate follow-up. So somebody like that, I'm not going to tag them or identify them in my LionDesk account as a hot or warm lead. They're going to get identified and tagged as a cold lead, and they're going to get put on a very long-term drip campaign. I'm not going to be following up with this person once a week, you know, once every second day, let alone once a week, let alone once every second week. I'm going to probably follow up with this person once a month. And this is where email would come in. Somebody like this, I would put on a monthly email notification, and maybe periodically I would sprinkle in there, you know, a text message. So a reminder to myself to text this person and just say, hey, you know, how are things going? Has anything changed? Blah, blah, blah. Just checking in kind of thing, even though you're not going to use that language of just checking in, right? Because that's step number 2. Get them off of text message onto the phone, pre-qualify them, and your whole goal while having them on the phone, if you can, is to close for an appointment. Never use the word appointment, right? As soon as a client lead or prospect hears the word appointment, they think, boom, ding, 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 sales. This person's a salesperson. They're trying to sell me, and all their reflex responses start going off, and their defense mechanisms start going off. You want to try to get them into something. You can use the word consultation if you like. That sounds a little bit more professional, but I really like using the language of just, hey, let's meet up for a coffee. Let's have a quick chat. Let's see where you're at. Let's see what I can help you with. Because if you can't get them from step 2, which is on the phone, to step number 3, which is in person, face to face, then you're pretty much dead in the water, right? So it's all about this progression of a sale, getting people to take these micro steps and these micro commitments. You don't want to ask, I talked about it last week, you don't want to ask for marriage on the first date. That is a big, big, big no-no. And that's why a lot of people don't have success with converting online leads. So if you've successfully taken them from step 2 to step 3, which is off of the phone and into an appointment, by the way, if you're not able to get them into an appointment, you better have gathered a bunch of information about them, that whole pre-qualification. Because now when you get off of the phone with them, you're going to, again, know, if you weren't successfly able to get them into an appointment, you're going to know how to follow up with them appropriately, right? So you're going to want to take them off of that blast campaign, and you're going to want to put them into something more appropriate, whether that is a daily phone call or text message, whether that is an every second day, whether that is an every week, whether that is bi-weekly, whether that is monthly. Again, you're going to want to know that information, but hopefully you have taken the step 3, which is an in-person, face-to-face appointment. Now, I know that's a little bit more challenging right now with the COVID-19 pandemic. I don't know where all you guys are. Let me know where you guys are and what the restrictions are. Where I am right now, real estate is a little bit tricky. We are under lockdown right now. Open houses, for example, are not allowed. We can still do showings, but everything has to be by appointment, and there has to be only 2 people per showing, and they have to be from the same household. So I don't know where you guys are in the United States. Most of you are in the United States, I'm assuming. And then with Joe Biden taking the oath of office, things are obviously going to change there a little bit. I think there's going to be some more stricter measures in place. So You know what? If you can't get face-to-face, don't let that hinder you. Don't let that set you back. Do virtual, right? Set up a Zoom call, set up a FaceTime call on your iPhone, or I don't know what Android does, but anyways, I'm sure they have something similar. Google Meet, all those kinds of things. Set up just try to get face-to-face, right? You want to get them seeing your face, hearing your words, and seeing your face. Okay, so that's step number 3. How are we doing so far? Does that all make sense, guys? Is there anything that you would like more clarification on? Maybe some of the scripts that I use, some of the language, the phraseology that I use. Because while you're on the phone with these people, you have to be very careful about the words you use. You have to take them through a process, right? You can't just get them on the phone and be like, hey, everybody's favorite alternative close, right? So, I want to talk to you. I've got Thursday next week, 1 p.m. and 3 p.m. available. What works best for you, right? That is the classic alternative close, and some people don't like that. So you don't want to go straight into that kind of phraseology. You want to ask them questions. You want to connect with them. Like, I'm always quoting this book, Ninja Selling by Larry Kendall, right? Getting into flow with them, making that connection, providing them information, providing them value. Don't go straight into a pitch. Don't go straight into a presentation, because that stuff just won't work. I think the scripts for texts, emails, and phone calls would be great. Perfect. Yeah. So if we end up doing that live, where I build a marketing blast campaign live for an online lead, we'll definitely go through that stuff. Basically, guys, it's a lot of open-ended questions, right? One thing I didn't mention in the beginning, and I'm going to mention it now because this is super important, is you do not want to get into a position of chasing with your leads, especially online leads. If you get into that position where you're chasing them, it's very, very, very hard to get out of that position. It's a position of weakness. So you're coming across weak. You're coming across desperate, and it's very, very hard to come back from that. You want to always come from a position of authority and a position of power, right? You're in the driver's seat, and the thing in sales, right, is who's in the driver's seat is the one asking the questions, right? Playing a little bit hard to get, right? This is going back to middle school and, childhood and all that kind of stuff. That girl or that boy that you really wanted to date, and you were, what happened, right? When you started chasing them and chase, the further and the harder you chased them, the further they ran away, right? And when you did the opposite, right, you played hard to get. You played, in my case, because I'm a man, or I guess back then I was a boy, you played Mr. Cool. Suddenly they don't want anything to do with you anymore, right? Your leads are no different, right? All of this stuff is built into their brains. Your leads are no different. You start chasing them, they're going to run farther and harder away from you, right? So you want to always come from a position of authority, always come from a position of, hey, you know what, I'm busy. Not that you're bragging or anything like that, but just that, you're busy, and that play hard to get a little bit, I guess is what I'm trying to say. The harder you play to get, the more they're going to be attracted to you. It's just human nature. Okay, so step number 3, like we said, is getting them into an appointment. Step number 4 is now at that appointment, you're face-to-face, and you're going to hopefully close for an exclusive buyer representation agreement or a listing, right? Depending on the lead, whether it's a buyer lead or a seller lead. And that is basically it, guys. I mean, you follow. I know it seems oversimplified talking about it in this sense, but you keep those 4 steps in mind. Just always be thinking, okay, lead comes in, I got to get them off of texting and onto a phone call. Get them onto a phone call, and in the back of your mind, I got to get them off of this phone call and into face-to-face, right? And then when you get them face-to-face, it's I got to get them off of face-to-face into an exclusive representation. So they're actually a client of yours, because until you have them exclusively represented by you, they're not technically a client. Where I live, there's a difference between customer and client. And as a customer, I'm not actually representing them. There's only so much I can do to help them. But as a client, they are under exclusive representation. There's an actual agreement. There's a contract in place. I need to get the phone number first. Okay, so I don't know who you are. I don't know if that's you, Ben. But that would be a problem with your funnel, okay? Well, not problem, I shouldn't say. Because some people, to some people, a lead is just a name and an email. And I didn't talk about this last week in the live about the truth about online leads. But that's something that you're going to want to identify yourself when you're doing online lead generation is, number 1, identify what a lead is to you. Is a lead a name and phone number? Is a lead a name, a phone number, and an email? Or is a lead just a name and an email? Now, personally for me, I want nothing to do with a name and an email. I mean, those you can get them very easy, and that's where you get kind of lulled into this, look how cheap my leads are. My leads are only 30 cents, 40 cents, 50 cents. But to me, if I don't have their phone number, I can't work with that. There's no way. I do not waste my time trying to sell somebody through email. It just, I mean, that's just me. That's just me personally. I need their phone number. I can't work with an email. I got to get, if I can use this as my weapon, man, I mean, you and I, whoever you are, I think it might be Ben, but you and I going to war against each other. You're going into battle with an email, and I'm going into battle with an email and a phone number. Yeah, good luck to you, sir or madam, whoever you are. But again, I know I oversimplified this, guys, but it is really those 4 steps, right? Just keep those steps in mind. Keep thinking about the progression of the sale back to that image I shared in the beginning. If you give up after a contact attempt number 1, 2, 3, you're dead in the water, because nobody, there are some people out there, but almost nobody, yeah, it's Ben still, almost nobody is following up 5th attempt, 6th attempt, 7, 8. And where I dare go sometimes, I will follow up 30, 40 times with people, right? That whole Wolf of Wall Street, again, it's one of my favorite movies. And in that same scene, I didn't play it, but he talks about following up with people basically, or phoning them until, in the movie, I think he says is you don't get off the phone with them until somebody buys or dies. Now, I don't agree with that. You can sense pretty clearly if people are feeling pressured or anything like that. I'm not going to stay on the phone with them forever, but I will follow up with somebody until they buy or die. Because if this is going to sound very morbid, but I'm comfortable saying this, if they die, well, I'm sorry for the loss. Maybe they have a home to sell, right? And it's that person, that agent who stays in front of them, keeps following up. That is going to be the person who ultimately earns the business. Everybody else who gives up, by a contact attempt number 1, number 2. And with the tools that we have in place, like LionDesk, there is no reason, there's no excuse not to stay in front of people, right? It's literally just set it and forget it. Put somebody on, even if it's just, a reminder, task reminder to yourself to follow up with somebody every week or every second day to call them or whatever. Those are some of my favorite, actually, is sending myself task reminders every second day, especially with like an active hot buyer or active hot seller. I just keep sending myself that reminder every second day. I just set it up and I don't turn it off. Just keep getting that reminder every second day, every second week, whatever it is. Call, text. And preferably, I like to do that manually because I like to reach out to people manually. I like to send them personalized text messages. I like to send them personalized, or not send them, but I like to make personalized phone calls because if I just send them automation, right, the first week or 2, it's kind of easy to predict how they're going to respond and how they're going to react. But once you start getting deep into the trenches of like 4, 5, 6 month follow-up, it's very hard to predict what to send them. And they might have even already responded by that point, right? So the type of long-term, more nurture follow-ups that I use personally in my business is very general, very, very, very generalized stuff like market data, market updates, sold data, comparables, all that kind of stuff. I will not try to predict and send them something personalized 6 months down the road, because I might have already had a conversation with them, month 3 or month 4, and I just don't want to look dumb, to be honest. So those are the 4 steps, guys. Is there any questions? We only have a few people on here right now. Any questions before we shut this down? Let's wait. Wait as you type, I guess. No, nobody's typing anything, so I think we'll maybe shut this down, and I'll kind of leave it with that, guys. You have an incredible tool at your disposal with LionDesk, and especially with the campaigns. Every single person in your contact, in your database should be on a campaign. If they're not on a campaign, then how are you getting reminded to follow up with that person? How are you staying in front of them because they're not being sent anything from you, right? Everybody needs to be on a campaign so that they don't fall through the cracks and you don't lose money, because you are literally leaving money on the table by not following up with people. So that's it, guys. That's all I got. Hopefully that was valuable for you. Like I said, we'll keep kind of feeling the group out. Next week, maybe we'll do me building a campaign live for you guys if you would find that helpful. But there's got to be interest, because if there's only, you know what? We'll probably do it anyways, just because not everybody's on here live. If you're showing up on the replay, let me know. If you would find that helpful, let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to reach out. I'm always in the group. I'm pretty active. Let me know, guys. Other than that, I hope you have a great weekend. Hopefully you're on some buyer and seller appointments this weekend and maybe doing some open houses if you're allowed to, and working those leads, calling those leads, and that's the only way you're going to convert people, right? Especially online leads. These are not your friends and family. These are not warm, referrals or anything like that. Like, I had a buyer consultation just yesterday. It was a referral from a really good friend of mine. Do you know how this buyer consultation went? Basically, the guy was like, "Hey, we're moving. They're coming from out of town." He said, "We're coming down in the next couple. We're going to be coming down in the next couple of weeks. We need to buy a home. I'm getting transferred from my job. I want you to be our realtor. Does that sound good?" Like, who's closing who? I was just asking questions and listening to him. He's closing me. He's basically saying, "You're our guy. Like, you're our guy. Does that sound good to you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course it does." So online leads are not like that, right? They're not those easy layup, knock them out of the park type leads. You got to put in the work, guys, and you got to ask yourself, why are you generating online leads, right? Is it because you're trying to grow? Is it trying to scale your business? I hope it's because you're not lazy and you just don't want to put in the work of prospecting, because online leads are not your answer if you just don't want to put in the work of prospecting and other marketing channels, because honestly, a lot of people are leaving a lot of money on the table by not marketing to their existing sphere. So that's basically it, guys. With online leads, make sure you know what you're getting into. Make sure you know that it's going to be work. It's going to take time. It's going to take money. But the people that put in the work and are willing to invest that time and money, man, it's like unlocking the keys to the kingdom. Once you unlock those keys and once you crack that code of online leads, I don't want to say the sky's the limit, but you just open up this entire world of new potential business, because your sphere is only so big, right? You only know so many people, and those people within your sphere are only going to refer you to so many people, which you can't really rely on, because it's not like they're out running around every day referring you, right? And then people in your sphere, they only need you every 5 to 7, 8 years, whatever the average moving data is in your market, right? Once they buy a home from you, and then they're good, right? They don't need you for another 5 to 7 years. So online leads can really open the door and kind of open the kingdom to basically print however much commission you want to make. So that's it, guys. That's all I got. I will see you in the group. And like I said, I hope you have a great weekend, everybody. Peace.